It's time for Ringside. Got a bunch of news lined up for you, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, we're just gonna whack. PW Insider says they haven't heard about Drew McIntyre signing a new deal with WWE just yet. I don't 100% know what's stopping Drew from signing with WWE as of right now. I mean, he challenged for the World Heavyweight Championship. He's been in some very compelling storylines. And, I mean, his character's doing well. The crowd doesn't really seem to be getting sick of him. Like, I'm not necessarily... I mean, let's just assume that this is still the initial, thing that I was mentioning earlier about the whole merger thing. They gotta, finalize everybody. But now everyone's contracts are starting to get signed, so I don't understand why Drew is kind of like holding out. I don't necessarily know what it could be. Maybe he's like holding out because he wants like a better deal or something like that, or maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's for storyline purposes. Maybe it's something that they're possibly gonna incorporate into the storyline into like the near future. I mean, at the time of this upload, Monday Night Raw is tonight. Well, no, at the time of this recording, Monday Night Raw is tonight, so maybe there's something that he's probably gonna talk about that has to do with his contract. I don't 100% know. I mean, maybe he's planning on leaving. I genuinely don't know. There's a lot of different factors. I am a bit confused, though, as to why he's not re-signing, though. I don't really see why he wouldn't want to, unless it's just, primarily up to him, and maybe he wants to explore more options and go to different promotions right now. I don't know. I mean, maybe he's seeing, like, Ziggler and Top Dollar and, Mustafa and all that stuff. Maybe he's seeing everybody else run around. He's like, you know what? I want to do that, too. I don't really know. So, I mean, I don't want him to not re-sign, you know what I mean? I'd like him to stay with WWE. I think he's been doing great there, and I think they've been treating his character very well. So it'd be kind of weird to see him leave WWE. But listen, if he doesn't want to go WWE anymore, then, that's his prerogative. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what his decision ends up being. Sticking with PW Insider, they also say that while anything is possible, they have been told that Mercedes Moné is not the, quote, big name planned for TNA's Hard to Kill event. Speaking of Moné, the Wrestling Observer newsletter says that there are those in WWE who have speculated this could be like the situation with CM Punk, where it's denied everywhere as she is still a surprise at the Royal Rumble. However, she has been talked about by others as, quote, Tony Khan's counterpunch to losing Andrade, and AEW, quote, does not expect her to start on TV soon. Okay, so she's not going to be at Hard to Kill. I low-key kind of expected that. This is why I kept the whole CM Punk thing in the back of my mind. Because now that I know, now that I'm aware that, wrestling news outlets can just be throwing red herrings and duds and, smoke and mirrors in your direction simply just to get you to think of something completely different. Now I don't believe anything that I'm being told. That's not 100% true. Now I'm taking every single thing that I see with a grain of salt. So with that being said, there is a potential chance that Mercedes Moné could show up at the Royal Rumble. There's also a potential chance that none of that could be true and she could be showing up at TNA. No, at AEW, it's too many acronyms. I don't think that's gonna, I don't think that's gonna happen because I don't think TNA is gonna offer up anything that Mercedes Moné wants. That is just my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but that's my personal opinion, that I feel as though that WWE has way more to offer Mercedes Moné than AEW has, at least at the moment. Now, to be fair, AEW has the whole, what's the word? She has the AEW has the connection to Japan, and WWE doesn't. So that's something that could potentially sway Mercedes Moné. And also, Mercedes Moné, AEW has more, AEW is more lenient with, the contracts and where you end up going. I say that, but Charlie Dempsey and, there was someone else, I think. Well, the most recent one that I can think of, at least for right now, was Charlie Dempsey going over to AJPW. So I say that, but WWE is also very lenient on, at least I assume, certain wrestlers' contracts. I don't think that it's every single wrestler, but you know what I mean? Like, WWE and AEW both have a lot of different factors as to why you should sign with either one of them, and I feel like WWE has a little bit more to offer than AEW, but AEW may have some, intricate and dynamic factors that, Mercedes Moné may want to go with, but I don't know. I feel like she's going to go with WWE. I just feel like WWE has a little bit more, more change in their pocket jingling around than Mercedes Moné may be a little bit more inclined to go with. Again, I could be 100% wrong, and who knows? She could go to MLW. You know what I mean? Like, that's just where we're at in the storyline right now. So I know that I'm not really saying anything, but it's at least for me, it feels like this is really up in the air right now. So at the end of it all, I think she's going with WWE, but we'll have to wait and see. Next, While Nick Khan praised him in writing and during internal meetings after his departure, PW Insider says there's a growing belief at WWE that Kevin Dunn resigned, quote, because he felt disrespected and was a, quote, Vince McMahon guy. There were issues leading up to Dunn giving notice, and one source told Insider it was, quote, getting uglier even after he informed the company of his decision. Dunn is expected to keep working and is, quote, looking into potential film and television projects, but Insider doesn't expect him to work for other wrestling companies. If I'm Dunn, right, and I am working with WWE, and Vince is gone, I see, and this is the thing, because it's all up to Dunn. Dunn was like, you know what? I don't really feel like I'm being treated fairly here, all because I'm a Vince McMahon guy. Dunn, you should have thrown that out the window as soon as Vince left. You should have been like, Vince is gone. I'm working with Nick Khan. I'm going to do my best to wipe the slate clean of all my allegiances and my preferences and whatnot, and I'm going to do my best to put on a good product. So far, that's what he's been doing, and it doesn't really seem like he's going to shy away from that anytime soon. I don't like the idea that Dunn is like, you know what, I'm not working here anymore because I don't feel respected. Dunn, I feel like as an employee, you need to go to Nick Khan. You need to be like, hey, I don't feel like I'm being treated very fairly here simply because of who I align myself with. He's not here anymore. I'm still here. I think you need to treat me as a regular employee here, and you shouldn't, think to yourself, oh, he's going to be doing this and acting like that all because he worked with Vince McMahon. But he's leaving now, there's not really much else that we could say, it doesn't really, from what I read, he's not going with any other wrestling companies. Fine, between you and me, I feel like they're probably not going to take him just because the way that he, shoots, the matches and stuff like that, which is, man, one of the reasons why I love NJPW and AEW, because, man, their cinematography is great, but, I don't know, man, I don't like that that's, we're just gonna say that seems to be one of the factors of why he's leaving, is because he feels like he's being slated by WWE. I wish I could sit down and talk with him and be like, why do you feel like WWE themselves are kind of like singling you out? Like, you could easily just go to them and be like, hey, he's gone and we don't have to worry about that anymore, and I don't know why you think that I, for some reason, would be like some sort of mole, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see why you would think I'd be the Vince Russo to WCW type deal. Like, that really shouldn't even be a factor. We should be focusing on the task at hand and should be focusing on making WWE the best product it can be. But again, too late. That's what he decided on, so there's really nothing else that we can really say about it. Finally, there were originally plans for the Continental Classic to include more time limit draws, but Tony Khan ended up limiting that after feedback from others, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. However, the plan was always for it to come down to Eddie Kingston versus Jon Moxley. I like the amount of time limit draws that he added initially because you don't want it to be too much. You don't want the time limit draws to be so much of a factor that everybody just kind of assumes that every single match is going to be a time limit draw. What was the time limit draw? It was, it was Claudio and Danielson, and then there was a second one. I don't remember what the second one was. I know there was two, right? There were two. I swear to you there were two. I don't know why I'm thinking it was... No, because Brody King beat Garcia. The point is, I'm glad that they went with the amount of time limit draws that they had. Because if there was only one, you'd be like, okay, so a time limit draw is the thing that can happen. But like, if it was just one, then it'd be like, all right, well, it's time limit draw. Two made it was like, okay, so a time limit draw is something that like can actually okay, now will this match have a time limit? If there was like three, that'd be like, all right, is this one gonna have a time limit draw? Like, it would be more. It would be less of like is this gonna happen? And more of like okay, all right, all right. I guess this means that a time limit draw is potentially gonna happen in this match. So he did the correct amount. I think that the CC, the Continental Classic, was fantastic. I really don't have any notes, to be totally honest with you. I think, every wrestler got a wonderful shine. Even the wrestlers who didn't get that many points on the board, I still think that they put on incredible matches. Like I said, my favorite part of the entire thing was the post-match promos. The Jay White, Swerve, Jon Moxley. I love what every single character was doing with their wins, and their losses. I love the character development that Eddie Kingston was going on, and the rivalries that were kind of like bubbling up and that sort of stuff. I love the whole combination of the matches and everything that went along with it. I think it was fantastic, and that's why I'm saying I think that the amount of time limit draws that were in the whole thing were just chef's kiss, perfect amount, because you don't want, certain factors of the matches and whatnot to take away from the shine of the overall product that the Continental Classic was bringing to AEW as a whole. That's why, at the end of the day, I think it was great. If it's something that they want to bring, which I assume that that's what they're going to do, if it's something that they want to bring back, maybe Eddie Kingston challenges again, I have no problem with that, and I can't wait to see what they do with it, next time around. Maybe it'll be a yearly thing, who knows? Either way, can't wait. What are we talking about? McIntyre still hasn't signed with WWE. I hope that isn't anything like bad. I hope that it's maybe something of like, oh, I forgot my pen in the other room and it's like a mile away or something. I don't know. I just hope it isn't anything like that. All right, Monet's not going to be at TNA's Hard to Kill event. They could be doing a big old ruse and, tricking us into thinking that she's not going to show up at the Royal Rumble. But there's also a factor. Okay, however, she's been talked about by others as Tony Khan's counterpunch to losing Andrade, and AEW does expect her to start on TV soon. Right, so that's what I'm saying. It's literally up in the air. Hello? It's up in the air. She could be a Royal Rumble, but AEW could be throwing out their fishing line and snagging Monet, and she could be with AEW in some capacity. I personally don't think that's the case. I think WWE is going to have Julia. They're going to be working with Stardom. They're possibly going to be working with Tanahashi. I mean, she could be on NXT, SmackDown. Like, there's a lot of different factors and variables that would definitely sway her opinion to be with WWE. Again, could be wrong. That's where she may end up going, all right, listen, if I'm done, again, I don't understand why you're leaving. Listen, if you want to leave, then fine. You're an adult, you can make your own decisions. If I'm done, no, why should I go anywhere? I don't care that Vince is gone. Okay, Vince is gone, fine. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Let me do my thing. I've been here for the last 40 years? Why would I go anywhere? But listen, again, that's his decision. Okay, the Continental Classic had the perfect amount of time limit draws. They shouldn't have had any more. I swear there were two. I feel like there may have only been one, because I can only think of one, but I swear to you there were two. I just don't remember what the other one was. And on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said Pac will be returning to AEW, quote, soon. That's good to hear. I can't wait to see him come back. Wasn't he in Death Triangle? Maybe Death Triangle could come back and they could challenge for the Trios Championships. Either way, love Pac. Can't wait to see him. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. And as always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.